3 weeks later, Captain Yuna stood before the Galactic Alliance Council. The Great Chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of peaceful species. They all wanted to hear about her encounter with humans. "Captain Yuna," said Council Leader Zerion, "please tell us exactly what happened in the Silent Sector." Yuna had prepared carefully for this moment. She told them about the engine failure and the distress call. She described Captain Sunho and his rescue crew. She explained how the humans had repaired their ship and asked for nothing in return, but she did not mention Admiral Soman or the battle fleet. "You are saying that humans helped you without demanding payment or prisoners?" asked another council member. "That is correct. They only wanted to make sure we were safe." "This is very unusual," muttered Councillor Venth. "Humans are supposed to be aggressive and violent." "The humans I met were professional and kind," Yuna said firmly. "They risked their own safety to help strangers." The council members talked among themselves in low voices. Finally, Council Leader Zerion spoke again. "Captain Yuna, we have received similar reports from other sources. It seems that human rescue operations are more common than we realized." This surprised Yuna. "Other reports?" "Yes. In the past few weeks, several citizens have come forward with stories of human assistance. Traders, colonists, even some military personnel." Councillor Venth looked uncomfortable. "These reports are disturbing. They suggest that our information about humans may be incomplete." "Or wrong," said another council member bluntly. Council Leader Zerion raised his hand for silence. "We have decided to investigate these claims. Captain Yuna, we are forming a special committee to study human rescue operations. Would you be willing to serve on this committee?" "Yes, sir. I would be honored." The committee worked for 2 months. They interviewed dozens of people who had been rescued by humans. The stories were all similar. Humans appeared when no one else would help. They provided aid without asking for anything. They risked their lives for strangers. Yuna worked closely with Jiwan and Hana on the committee. They studied communication records, ship movement data, and rescue statistics. What they found was amazing. "Humans have been running rescue operations for over 20 years, Jiwan reported to the committee. They have saved thousands of lives. Their rescue network covers areas that Alliance ships avoid," added Hana. "They patrol the most dangerous regions of space." The committee also discovered something else important. Several pirate fleets in the outer sectors had stopped attacking civilian ships. When questioned, the pirates said they had been given jobs with human rescue operations. The humans are not just rescuing people, Yuna realized. They are solving the pirate problem by giving criminals better options. When the committee released its findings, the reaction across the galaxy was strong. Some people were grateful to learn the truth about humans. Others were angry that they had been lied to for so long. But most importantly, the Alliance Council voted to change their policy toward humans. "We have made a mistake," Council Leader Zerion announced. "We have treated humans as enemies when they should have been allies. This changes today." The Council sent an official invitation to human leadership. They wanted to discuss cooperation and mutual aid agreements. The human response came from Admiral Soman herself. She agreed to meet with Alliance representatives, but she had conditions. "We want to work with the Alliance," she said during the first meeting, "but we will not stop our rescue operations to make politicians comfortable." "We understand," said Council Leader Zerion. "In fact, we want to expand rescue operations. We want to work together." And so began the first official cooperation between humans and the Galactic Alliance. It started with joint rescue missions. Alliance ships would handle communication and diplomacy, while human ships provided rescue capabilities and protection. Captain Yuna was chosen to lead the first joint mission. Her ship, the Harmony's Light, was paired with Captain Sunho's rescue vessel. "It is good to work with you again." "Captain Yuna," Sunho said as their ships met in space. "The pleasure is mine." "Captain Sunho, I have learned much since our first meeting." Their first mission together was to help a colony ship that had been damaged by asteroids. The Alliance ship handled medical evacuations while the human ship repaired the damage. Working together, they saved over 3,000 colonists. More joint missions followed. Each success built trust between humans and other species. People began to see humans as protectors rather than threats. The change was not immediate or complete. Some Alliance members still feared humans. Some humans were angry about decades of rejection. But progress was steady. Captain Yuna found herself becoming a bridge between the two groups. She spoke at alliance meetings about human heroism. She visited human stations to share alliance knowledge and culture. "You have done something important," Admiral Soman told her during one visit. "You helped our species find each other." "I just told the truth," Yuna replied. "Sometimes that is the hardest thing to do." A year after their first meeting, Captain Yuna and Captain Sunho were working together on a permanent basis. Their ships patrolled the outer sectors, ready to help anyone in need. The joint rescue program had grown to include dozens of ships from both humans and Alliance species. They had saved thousands of lives and stopped dozens of pirate attacks. But the most important change was in people's hearts. Fear was being replaced by respect. Suspicion was being replaced by cooperation. "Captain," said Hana one day as they responded to another distress call, "do you think we would have survived without the humans?" Yuna looked at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there people needed help. And now there were humans and Alliance ships, working together to provide that help. "I think the real question is whether the galaxy would survive without them," she said. The distress call was from a small transport ship with engine problems. Nothing unusual. But as their ships moved to help, Yuna felt proud of what they had built together. The silent sector was not silent anymore. It was full of voices calling for help and voices answering that call. Human voices and Alliance voices working as one. Captain Sunho's voice came through the communication system. "Harmony's Light, this is Rescue 1. Ready to save some lives?" "Always ready, Rescue 1. Let us go help our neighbors." Together, the human and Alliance ships flew toward another rescue. It was exactly how things should be. In space, everyone was neighbors. And neighbors helped each other. That was the human way. And now it was the galaxy's way, too. The Harmony's Light was traveling back toward Alliance space when everything changed again. They had been safe for only 12 hours. "Captain," said Hana urgently, "I am detecting a large fleet approaching fast. The ships are not human." Yuna hurried to the main screen. She could see dozens of ships coming toward them. These vessels looked rough and dangerous with mismatched parts and weapon systems bolted everywhere. "Pirates," said Taehyun grimly. The crew had heard about the pirate raids in this sector. For months, criminal fleets had been attacking merchant ships and research vessels. They took cargo prisoners and sometimes destroyed ships just for fun. "How many ships?" Yuna asked. "At least 40, maybe more behind them. 40 pirate ships against one small research vessel. There was no contest. The Harmony's Light had no weapons and could not run fast enough to escape. "Should we call for help?" asked Minho. "Who would come?" Kyung replied sadly. "Alliance ships will not enter the silent sector, and the humans are busy with those other rescues." Yuna stared at the approaching fleet. After surviving engine failure and meeting humans, they were going to die anyway. It seemed very unfair. "Wait," said Hana suddenly. "I am getting a message from the human rescue ship." Captain Sunho's voice came through clearly. "Harmony's Light, we detect hostiles approaching your position. Change course to heading 127 and increase speed to maximum. They are 6 hours away helping other people," Taehyun said. "How can they know what is happening here?" "Human sensor networks," Jiwon realized. "They monitor everything in these sectors." Yuna activated communications. "Captain Sunho, we cannot outrun these ships. Our vessel is too slow." "Understood. Maintain your current course. Help is coming." "What help?" "You said all your rescue ships are busy." There was a pause. Then Sunho's voice came back, but it sounded different, more serious. "Captain Yuna, you are about to see something that your government has kept secret. Do not be afraid." Before Yuna could ask what he meant, space around them began to change. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace. Not the small rescue vessels they had seen before, but massive warships. The lead ship was enormous, easily 10 times larger than Harmony's Light. Its hull was dark gray and covered with weapon systems. Behind it came more ships, all of them built for battle. "New contacts," Hana reported with awe. 27 ships, all human military vessels. The largest ship opened communications. A woman's voice came through calm and authoritative. "This is Admiral Soman of the Human Defense Fleet aboard the Indomitable Spirit. Pirates are approaching your position. We recommend you reduce speed and stay behind our formation." Yuna could barely speak. "Admiral, we are grateful for your help, but there are over 40 pirate ships. We have counted 43 hostile vessels. That is within acceptable parameters." The human fleet moved into formation around Harmony's Light. The smaller ships took positions on the sides, while the larger vessels moved forward. It was like watching a dance, but with warships. "Captain," said Admiral Soman, "we are about to engage hostile forces. Please make sure your crew is secure." As the human fleet prepared for battle, Admiral Soman sent a message on all frequencies, including to the approaching pirates. "Attention all vessels in this area. This is Admiral Soman of the Human Defense Fleet. Civilian ships should leave this area immediately. Any hostile forces that continue their attack will be stopped. We offer safe passage to any vessels that withdraw now." The pirates responded with weapon fire. The battle that followed was unlike anything the crew of Harmony's Light had ever seen. The human ships moved with perfect coordination. Their weapons were incredibly accurate. But strangest of all, they seemed to be trying not to destroy the pirate ships. "They are targeting engines and weapons," observed G1. "They are trying to disable the pirates, not kill them." "Why would they do that?" asked Kyung. "Because that is what good people do," Yuna said quietly. "The pirates fought hard, but they were no match for the human fleet. The humans had better ships, better weapons, and much better training. Within an hour, half the pirate fleet was disabled and drifting. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of destroying the remaining pirates, the human ships began rescue operations. "They are sending medical ships to help the pirates," Hana said in amazement, "even after the pirates attacked them. Yes, they are treating wounded pirates and offering to repair damaged ships." Admiral Soman's voice came through again. "Harmony's Light, the area is secure. You are free to continue your journey." "Admiral, why are you helping the pirates? They just tried to kill us." "Because they are people too. Many pirates are just desperate individuals who made bad choices. We try to give them better options." Yuna was amazed. "Even in battle, the humans tried to save everyone." "What kind of better options?" "Jobs, mostly. Our rescue fleet needs crew members. We offer work to anyone willing to help others instead of hurting them." This was incredible. The humans were turning their enemies into allies. "Captain Yuna," said Admiral Soman, "we need to talk. There are things about humans that your government has not told you." A small shuttle came from the Indomitable Spirit and docked with Harmony's Light. Admiral Soman came aboard with 2 officers. The Admiral was a serious woman with gray hair and intelligent eyes. She spoke directly and honestly. "Your rescue has created a problem," she began. "You have seen our rescue operations and our defense capabilities. Your government will want to know about this. Is that bad?" Yuna asked. "It could be. The Alliance has spent decades telling everyone that humans are dangerous and uncontrolled. If people learn that we run the largest rescue network in the galaxy, it might embarrass some politicians." One of her officers, a man named Jinwoo, added, "We have been helping Alliance citizens for years, but we have to do it secretly because your government forbids contact with humans." "How many people have you rescued?" asked Jiwon. "In the last 10 years, about 50,000 individuals from over 200 species," Admiral Soman said. "We have saved entire colonies, stopped pirate fleets, and provided medical aid during disasters." "But no one knows about this?" "The people we rescue know, but they cannot talk about it without getting in trouble with their own governments." Yuna was starting to understand the bigger picture. "So the galaxy thinks humans are violent, but you are actually protecting everyone." "We protect people who need protection. That is what strong people should do." Admiral Soman showed them data about human rescue operations across the galaxy. The numbers were staggering. Humans had dedicated enormous resources to helping others while being hated for it. "Why do you continue?" Yuna asked. "Why help people who fear you?" "Because fear is not their fault. They have been told lies about us, but people in danger still deserve help, regardless of what their governments say." As the Admiral prepared to leave, she gave Yuna a choice. "You can report everything you have seen here. Tell the Alliance about our rescue operations and defense capabilities. But that might cause problems for the people we help. What is the alternative? Keep quiet about the military fleet. Tell them about the rescue if you want, but let the Alliance think we are just a few ships doing small rescue operations." It was a hard choice. The humans had saved her crew and asked for nothing. Now they were asking her to keep their secrets to protect other people. "Why do you trust us with this?" Yuna asked. Admiral Soman smiled for the first time. "Because Captain Sunho says you are good people, and his judgment is usually right." As the human fleet prepared to leave, Yuna made her decision. She would tell the truth, but carefully. She would focus on the rescue operations and the kindness of the humans. But she would keep their military secrets safe, because that is what good people did for each other. The repairs continued throughout the day. Captain Yuna watched the humans work and felt more confused with each passing hour. Everything she had been told about them seemed wrong. Medic Nari was treating Jiwon for a minor injury she had gotten during the engine failure. Nari worked with gentle hands and a soft voice. "This might sting a little," she warned before applying medicine. "Your medical techniques are very advanced," Jiwon said with surprise. Nari smiled. "We have to be good at fixing injuries. Our world taught us that. Because it is so dangerous? Yes, but also because we learned that taking care of each other is the most important thing." Meanwhile, engineer Wu Jin was teaching Dawan how to prevent engine cascades. "The trick is to watch these pressure readings," he explained. "If they get too high, you adjust this valve here." "This is not in our technical manuals," Dawan said. "No, it is something we figured out from experience. We will leave you some notes." Dawan looked grateful. "You do not have to do that." Wu Jin seemed puzzled. "Of course we do. How else will you stay safe?" Captain Sunho spent time talking with different crew members. He was curious about their mission and their backgrounds, but his questions were friendly, not like an interrogation. "You study new planets?" he asked Yuna. "Yes, we look for worlds that might support life, or worlds with interesting geology." "That sounds fascinating. We do not get to explore much anymore. We spend most of our time on rescue operations." "How long have you been doing rescue work?" Sunho thought for a moment. "Our fleet has been running rescue missions for about 15 years. But individual human ships have been helping people much longer than that." This surprised Yuna. "Why did you start?" "Because we kept finding people who needed help, and no one else was helping them." As the day went on, more humans came aboard. They brought food for the crew and extra supplies. One human, named Hyun, seemed to be some kind of cultural expert. "I study different species," he explained to Yuna. "I help our crews understand how to communicate with everyone we meet." "You have met many different species?" "Oh yes. We have rescued Zentari traders, Mokari scientists, Villani colonists, and dozens of others. Each species has different needs and customs." Yuna was amazed. "But the Alliance keeps humans away from civilized space." Hyun looked sad. "Yes, that makes our work harder. But people still need help, even if their governments do not want us around." "Do the people you rescue ever report what you do?" "Sometimes. But usually they cannot. It would cause problems for them politically." Now Yuna understood why she had never heard good stories about human rescues. "The people being saved had to keep it secret, Captain," said Hana suddenly. "I am receiving multiple distress signals." Everyone looked up. "How many?" asked Sunho. "At least 5 ships. Maybe more. They are coming from the nebula edge about 6 hours away." Sunho immediately activated his communication device. "This is Rescue 1. We have multiple distress calls. Prepare for large-scale operations." The other humans stopped their work and gathered around. "What is the situation?" asked Nari. "Sounds like a convoy got in trouble," Sunho said. "Probably merchant ships caught in a stellar storm." "We should finish here quickly," said Wu Jin. "The Harmony's light can travel now, but we need to make sure everything is stable." Yuna watched the humans organize themselves. They moved with purpose but without panic. They had clearly done this many times before. "Captain Sunho," she said, "our ship is working now. You should go help those other people." Sunho shook his head. "We do not leave anyone until we are sure they are completely safe. That is the first rule of rescue work. But those other ships might have injured people." "Yes, and we are sending ships to help them too. We have enough crews for everyone." This amazed Yuna. The humans had planned for multiple emergencies at the same time. They were not just randomly helping people. They had created an entire system for saving lives. "How many rescue ships do you have?" she asked. "In this sector, about 20. Across human space, several hundred. Several hundred ships just for rescue work, plus support vessels, medical ships, and supply transports. It takes a lot of resources to help people properly." Yuna tried to imagine the cost of such an operation. Who pays for all this? Sunho looked confused again. "We all do. It is part of being human. But you get nothing back. We get to sleep well at night, knowing we helped someone." As the humans prepared to leave, they gave the crew of Harmony's Light detailed repair manuals, extra supplies, and emergency communication codes. "If you ever need help again," Sunho said, "use these frequencies. Someone will always be listening." "Even though we are Alliance citizens?" asked Taehyun. "Especially because you are Alliance citizens." Your government might not like us, but you are still people who deserve help. The humans finished their work and prepared to go to the next emergency. Before leaving, Nari gave Ji-won some advanced medical supplies. These are human medicines, she explained. They work on most species. Keep them in case someone gets hurt. Wu Jin left detailed engineering notes with Dawan. These will help you fix problems we do not have parts for. And Hyan gave Hana some communication equipment. This will let you reach us faster if you need help. It also receives human news broadcasts if you are curious about us. Captain Sunho was the last to leave. Captain Yuna, it was an honor to meet you and your crew. You are good people doing important work. Thank you for saving us. We will not forget this. Just remember that if you meet other humans, we are not all the monsters your government says we are. Most of us just want to help. The humans left as quietly as they had arrived. Their ships disappeared into space, heading toward the next group of people who needed help. The crew of Harmony's Light stood on their bridge watching the human ships go. Everything they thought they knew about the galaxy had changed in one day. They were nothing like the stories, said Minho, quietly. They were better than most civilized species I know. Added. Ji-won Yuna activated the ship's engines. They worked perfectly now thanks to human repairs. As they began their journey back to Alliance space, she thought about what she had learned. The humans were not monsters. They were guardians watching over the dangerous parts of space where others feared to go. They asked for nothing and gave everything. But the galaxy still feared them. Something about that seemed very wrong. The human voice came through the speakers again. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Sunho. We know you are there. Your distress beacon is very strong. We are here to help. Captain Yuna looked around at her crew. Everyone was staring at the communication equipment like it might explode. They had all heard the words rescue fleet, but it was hard to believe. Should we answer? Whispered Hana. Taehyun shook his head quickly. This could be a trap. Maybe they want us to give away our position. They already know where we are, Jawan pointed out. Our beacon has been broadcasting for 3 days, Yuna thought carefully. They had 2 choices. They could stay silent and hope the humans would go away, or they could answer and find out what the humans really wanted. What if we just identify ourselves? She asked. Tell them we are civilians? That might make us look weak, said Kyung. Humans respect strength. If we sound afraid, they might attack, but Doan disagreed. If they really are a rescue fleet, then being civilians would be good. Rescue ships look for people who need help. The human voice came through again. This time it sounded more urgent. Attention, distressed vessel. We show your life support systems are failing. We have medical supplies and repair equipment. Please respond so we can help you. Hana looked surprised. How do they know about our life support? Their sensors must be very advanced, said Ji-won. They can scan our ship from far away. This made Taehyun even more nervous. See, they are studying our weaknesses. This is military behavior. Or rescue behavior, Hana argued. Rescue ships need good sensors to help people. Yuna made her decision. Hana, open a channel. Everyone looked worried, but Hana followed orders. She activated the communication system and nodded to Yuna. This is Captain Yuna of the research vessel Harmony's Light, she said clearly. We are civilians from the Galactic Peaceful Alliance. Our engines have failed and our life support is running low. The response came quickly. Captain Yuna, this is Captain Sunho. We are very glad to hear from you. How many people are on your ship? Yuna hesitated. Should she tell them? Knowing the crew size would help the humans plan an attack, but it would also help them plan a rescue. 12 people, she said finally. Understood. We are bringing 3 ships to your location. We will be there in 2 hours. Do you have any injured crew members? No injuries. Just engine failure. Good, we have repair teams and spare parts. We will get you running again. The communication ended. Everyone on the bridge was quiet for a long moment. They sound helpful, said Minho carefully. Sounds can lie, Taehyun warned. We need to prepare for the worst, Yuna nodded. Taehyun, check our defensive systems. Not to fight, but to protect ourselves if needed. Everyone else, gather important data and be ready to evacuate if necessary. As the crew worked, Ji-won pulled up more information about humans. Captain, I found something interesting. Human rescue protocols are very detailed. They have specific procedures for helping different species. What kind of procedures? Environmental controls, medical treatments, food requirements. It is like they have studied how to help everyone in the galaxy. This was strange. Why would a violent species learn so much about helping others? Time passed slowly. Finally, Hana announced, I have 3 large ships on sensors. They are definitely human design. Everyone gathered around the main screen. The human ships looked nothing like Alliance vessels. They were big and dark with thick armor and powerful weapons. They looked like they were built for war. Those are warships, said Taehyun quietly. But as the ships got closer, they could see other things. Medical symbols on the hulls, docking bays marked for rescue operations, equipment that looked like it was meant for helping damaged ships. The lead ship is requesting permission to dock, Hana reported. Yuna felt her heart beating fast. This was the moment of truth. Give them permission. The docking process was smooth and professional. The humans clearly knew what they were doing. When the airlocks connected, everyone held their breath. Captain, came Captain Sunho's voice through the comm. We are ready to board your ship. We have a medical officer, an engineer, and 2 repair specialists. Is this acceptable? Only 4 people. If this was an attack, they would send more. Yes, that is acceptable. The airlock opened and the humans came aboard. Captain Sunho was the first through. He was tall and broad, with dark hair and kind eyes. He did not look like a monster. Behind him came a woman carrying medical equipment, and 2 men with engineering tools. Captain Yuna, Sunho said, extending his hand in what Yuna knew was a human greeting gesture. I am very glad we found you in time. Yuna carefully shook his hand. His grip was strong but gentle. Thank you for coming. We did not expect anyone to answer our call. Sunho looked sad for a moment. Many people think that. It is why we patrol these areas. Someone needs to watch out for travelers in trouble. The human medic, who introduced herself as Nari, immediately began checking the crew for health problems. She was gentle and professional, asking permission before examining anyone. The engineers, Woo Jin and another man named Daeho, went straight to work on the ship's systems. They did not ask for ship blueprints or technical secrets. They just started fixing things. Your engine has a plasma cascade failure, Woo Jin explained to Dowan. We can fix it, but we need to replace some parts. We do not have spare parts, Dowan said. We do, said Daeho simply. We carry parts for most ship types. As the humans worked, the crew of Harmony's Light watched in amazement. These were supposed to be violent warriors, but they acted like professional rescue workers. They were polite, efficient, and focused only on helping. Captain Sunho, Yuna said quietly. Why do you do this? Rescue people in the silent sector? Sunho paused in his work. Because people need help, and because no one else comes here. But what do you get out of it? Sunho looked confused by the question. We get to save lives. That is enough. Yuna had never heard an answer like that. In the Galactic Alliance, everything had a price. Everything was a trade. But these humans seemed to help just because helping was right. Captain, called Woo Jin, we have restored main power. Your engines will be online in 1 hour. Life support is back to full capacity, added Nari. Everyone is healthy. In just a few hours, the humans had solved all their problems. The crew of Harmony's Light was safe, but now Yuna had many new questions about humans, and about everything she had been told about them. The bridge was completely silent. Everyone stared at Hana's communication equipment. The weak signal continued to come through, and they could hear voices speaking in a strange language. It sounded rough and hard, like rocks grinding together. Are you sure it is them? Asked Taehyun. His voice was very quiet. Hana nodded slowly. The signal pattern matches human technology, and I can hear some words in Galactic Standard mixed with their own language. Ji-won looked scared. What do we do now? Captain Yuna did not answer right away. She was thinking about everything she knew about humans. The stories were not good. Humans came from a planet called Earth, which was so dangerous that most species could not even visit it. The gravity was too strong. The weather was too violent. The animals were too deadly. The humans who survived on such a world had to be incredibly tough and aggressive. When they finally got into space, they brought their violence with them. At least that was what everyone said. Tell me what you know about humans, Yuna said to her crew. Kyung spoke first. They are warriors. They solve every problem by fighting. They have been in more wars than any other species. Their planet has huge storms and earthquakes, added Dowan. They eat other animals. They even fight each other for fun. Taehyun nodded. The Alliance keeps them away from civilized space for good reasons. They cannot be trusted. But Hana looked thoughtful. She had been quiet while others talked, but now she spoke up. I have been listening to their communications for years, she said. It is part of my job to monitor all frequencies, and I have heard things that do not match these stories. Everyone looked at her. What kind of things? Yuna asked. Hana seemed nervous, like she was about to say something she should not say. I have heard them talking about rescue operations. They use codes and frequencies that are only used for saving people in danger. Kyung shook his head. That cannot be right. Why would they rescue anyone? I do not know, Hana admitted, but I have recorded their transmissions. They talk about medical supplies and evacuation procedures. They coordinate rescue fleets. Maybe it is a trick, said Taehyun. Maybe they pretend to help so they can capture people. Jiwon pulled up information on her science station. According to Alliance records, humans have never attacked civilian ships. They fight with military forces, but there are no reports of them hurting scientists or traders. This was news to most of the crew. The stories they heard always made humans sound like monsters who killed everything they met. But look at their military record, Kyung argued. They have fought in dozens of wars. Yes, said Jiwon, reading more carefully. But when I look at the details, they were always defending someone else. Or they were attacked first. Yuna was getting confused. The official report seemed different from the stories everyone told. What else do you know, Hana? Hana looked around nervously. Promise you will not report this to Alliance Command. I promise. I have been tracking human ship movements for 2 years. They patrol areas that Alliance ships avoid. Dangerous areas like asteroid fields and nebula borders. Areas where ships sometimes get lost. Why would they do that? Asked Minho. I think they are looking for people who need help. The bridge was quiet again. This idea was very strange. Why would the violent humans spend time and resources looking for people to rescue? There is more, Hana continued. 6 months ago, I intercepted a human transmission near the Kolar Nebula. They were talking about rescuing a Zentari trader ship that had engine problems. Did they rescue them? Yuna asked. The Zentari ship arrived safely at Kolar Station 3 days later, but the official report said they fixed their engines themselves. No mention of human help. Dowan looked confused. Why would the Zentari lie about getting help? Maybe they were embarrassed, suggested Jiwon. Or maybe they were afraid of what other species would think. Yuna was starting to understand something important. Maybe humans were helping people, but those people could not admit it. Being rescued by the dangerous Deathworlders would be shameful in civilized society. Captain, said Hana suddenly, the human signal is getting stronger. I think they are coming closer. Fear came back to everyone's faces. Even if humans might be rescuers, they were still scary. They were big and strong and came from a world that would kill most other species in minutes. How long until they get here? Yuna asked. Hana worked with her equipment. Based on the signal strength, maybe 6 hours. What are our options? Yuna looked around at her crew. We could try to hide, suggested Taehyun. Turn off our beacon and drift silently. Our power's too low, said Dowan. We would die before they left the area. We could set the self-destruct, said Kyung quietly. Better to die free than become human prisoners. Yuna stared at him. You really think they want to capture us? Kyung looked uncertain now. I do not know, but everyone says they are dangerous. Everyone also said no one would answer our distress call, Hana pointed out. But someone did answer. That was true. They had been sure they would die alone in the silent sector. But now someone was coming. Maybe to help, maybe to hurt them. But at least they were not alone anymore. Captain, said Jiwon, I have been thinking about their planet, Earth. What about it? A world that dangerous would kill weak or selfish people very quickly. Only people who help each other would survive. Maybe that is why they rescue others. It is just what they do. This was an interesting idea. Maybe the harsh world did not make humans evil. Maybe it made them protective of others. We need to make a decision, said Taehyun. Do we trust them or not? Yuna looked around at her crew. They were all scared, but they were also hopeful. For the first time in days, they might live through this. We will wait for them, she decided, but we stay ready for anything. The next few hours felt very long. Everyone tried to work, but they kept looking at the communication station. The human signals were definitely getting stronger. Finally, Hana announced, Captain, I am receiving a direct communication. They are speaking Galactic Standard. Put it on speakers. The voice that came through was deep and rough. But the words were clear. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Sunho of the Human Rescue Fleet. We received your distress call. Please respond if you are able. Everyone stared at the speaker. The human had said rescue fleet. Maybe Hana was right about them after all, but they were still humans. Still Deathworlders, still terrifying. Captain Yuna stared at the main screen of her ship. The stars looked different here. They seemed cold and far away. Her ship, the Harmony's Light, was supposed to be on a simple mission. They were studying planets in this part of space. Nothing dangerous. Nothing that could go wrong. But everything had gone wrong. Captain, said Minho, her navigator. His voice was quiet and worried. The engines are completely dead. I cannot fix them. Yuna closed her eyes for a moment. She had hoped Minho could find a solution. He was the best navigator in the Galactic Peaceful Alliance. If he said the engines could not be fixed, then they could not be fixed. The ship felt too quiet now. Without the engine noise, Yuna could hear everything. She could hear Hana typing at her communication station. She could hear Jiwon working with her science equipment. She could hear the air recycling system working harder than it should. How long do we have? Yuna asked. Dowan, their engineer, looked up from his workstation. His face was pale. With the backup power, maybe 3 days. 4 if we turn off everything we do not need. 4 days. Yuna tried not to show her fear. They were in the middle of nowhere. This part of space was called the Silent Sector. Ships that got in trouble here were never rescued. Everyone knew that. The Galactic Peaceful Alliance did not send rescue ships here. It was too far away and too dangerous. What about the distress beacon? Asked Taehyun, their security officer. Hana shook her head. I have been sending signals for 6 hours. No one has answered. No one ever answers from this sector. Yuna walked around the bridge. Her crew was looking at her. They wanted her to have a plan. They wanted her to save them. But she did not know how. The Silent Sector had a bad reputation. Ships disappeared here. Some people said it was cursed. Others said pirates controlled this area. But most people just said it was empty. Dead space where no one lived and no one came to help. Captain, Jiwon said softly. There are stories about this place. Old stories, what kind of stories? Yuna asked. Jiwon looked nervous. Stories about the Deathworlders. Some say they patrol areas like this. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone knew about the Deathworlders. They were called humans. They came from a planet so dangerous that most species could not survive there. The humans were violent and aggressive. The Galactic Peaceful Alliance did not trust them. They were not welcome in civilized space. Those are just stories, Taehyun said quickly. Humans do not help anyone. They only fight and destroy. But Hana looked thoughtful. I have heard their communications before. Sometimes they talk about rescue missions. That is just propaganda, said Kyung, another crew member. They want us to think they are good. But everyone knows they are dangerous. Yuna sat back in her captain's chair. She looked at her crew. They were all good people. Scientists and explorers who wanted to learn about the galaxy. They did not deserve to die here in the empty dark. The ship shook a little. That meant the backup systems were working too hard. They did not have much time. Captain, Dowan said, we could try to send a stronger signal. Use more power. That will reduce our life support time, Hana warned. Yuna thought about it. They could save power and wait to die slowly, or they could use the power to call for help that might never come. It was not a good choice. But it was the only choice they had. Do it, she said. Send the strongest distress signal we can make. Send it on all frequencies. Hana worked at her station. What should the message say? Tell them who we are. Tell them we are civilians. Tell them we need help. Yuna paused. And tell them we are running out of time. The signal went out into space. It was strong enough to reach very far. Maybe someone would hear it. Maybe someone would care, but probably not. Everyone on the ship knew the truth about the Silent Sector. Rescue ships did not come here. The peaceful species of the galaxy avoided this area. If you got in trouble here, you died here. That was just how it was. Hours passed. Hana checked for responses every few minutes. Nothing came back. Just silence. The crew tried to work on other solutions. Maybe they could fix something. Maybe they could find another way. But deep down, they all knew it was hopeless. The engine was too broken. They were too far from any friendly planet. And no one was listening to their calls for help. Night cycle came and went. The ship grew colder as they turned off more systems to save power. Everyone wore extra clothes and stayed close together. Still nothing, Hana reported the next morning. Yuna nodded. She had not expected anything different. But she had to try. A good captain always tried everything. Keep sending the signal, she ordered. Some crew members looked at her with doubt. Why waste their remaining power on useless signals? But Yuna kept hoping. Even in the silent sector, even where no rescue ever came, she had to keep hoping. The second day was harder. People were getting scared. They talked in small groups about what would happen when the power ran out. Would it be quick? Would they suffer? Yuna spent most of her time on the bridge. She watched the stars and listened to Hana's reports of no response. She thought about her family back home. She thought about all the things she would never do now. But she kept sending the signal. On the third day, something changed. Hana suddenly sat up straight at her station. "Captain," she said with excitement, "I am getting something." A very weak signal. Everyone gathered around Hana's station. The signal was hard to hear through all the static. But it was there. Someone was out there in the dark. "Can you make it clearer?" Yuna asked. Hana worked with her equipment. Slowly, the signal became stronger, and then they could hear words. Words that made everyone on the bridge freeze with fear. The signal was coming from human ships. The Deathworlders had heard their call for help.